Hello everybody, how's it going? This is me, Captain Blue, over at, or Chris, or whatever the fuck you want to call me, over at the Wickie. And what I'm doing is I am today going to be working on, well, the Wickie, obviously. Now, what I'm doing is I'm loading up Unreal Engine, and last night until about 2 o'clock in the morning I was working on a procedural animation system for Captain Malin. I realise there's no one watching, but, you know, I'll tell people if they ever turn up. And, yeah, that's what I'm doing. So... there we go, I'll just update what it's called. There we are. All the titles now updated. If this ever finishes loading in about a trillion years. Right. I've done the audio. Sure, I've got an account for Grammarly. Hello, how are you? It's me from the internet, waving, ooh, like that. Okay. Hello, ooh. See, I'm in chat, but I can still say hello. Hi all, that I said. See, that was me saying it via Restreamio. I don't think it says it to Facebook though, so sorry. Oh, I was going to get a beard trim today, but I couldn't be bothered to wait at the barber's. Oh, come on, 95%. It's taken a while, isn't it? Oh well. I 3D printed myself a microphone stand. Came out quite well actually. I'm not sure where my microphone is. I'll put it down somewhere. Oh well, it'll turn up. Ooh, things are happening. Oh, it's crashed. That's not good. Why have it crashed? Have you crashed? No. It just made me think it had. Confusingly. Go figure. Right. And then I was working on... oh, come on, wake up already. I was working on Captain Malin yesterday. I'll be working on him again today. If you're not listening, that's cool. If you are listening, hello! Now I'm going to go to my test level, which I use just to dump things in. And we should see that Malin's busy doing Malin stuff. If ever it starts. It always loads Oculus first, which I hate. I don't want it loading Oculus first, but I can't seem to find the switch to turn that off. I mean, my Oculus headset is covered in dust, and because I don't especially want to, you know, vomit on myself. Right, so there he is there, and as you see, he basically goes through a range of motions and conversational type cues and things, and the trick's going to be basically getting him to do audio. So I'm going to get my start area here, and this is where I'm going to test it from, which is at roughly the distance between myself and Malin when I start the game. And I'll just put a few boxes in the way, because basically I've kind of blocked out the area. So if I block out the area on both sides like this, just to kind of show me how it looks. Okay. So this is the idea, that we can start and that's it. Okay, so what I want to do then is hello new person, how are you? I'm going to go to my cheat pack, which I've got down here, and pause and triggers, look trigger, overlap trigger, that sounds like it. Okay, so here we are. So I'm going to rename this start trigger. Okay, and auto receive input disabled, blah de blah de blah de blah, words. Okay, so create new horror event. New horror event is going to be, and I'm just going to, let me see, begin play. There we go. So when we begin play, in here, and I'm going to send a quick quest out, that way I'll know if it's working or not. So open my quest log, add the word boobs with a Z. Hello fourth person, my it's busy. Okay, now if I press play, okay, that looks like it's worked. Yes it has, cool. Okay, so now basically everything I do in here, okay, I can run down here as a sequence, which is great. So I'll delete that horror event, and instead I'm going to make on trigger and interaction begin play, horror event, environment, player, whatever, look at actor here. Actually, I tell you what I'm going to do. I don't know why I'm doing it in here. Let's just take it through and just place it and see how it looks. So save, file, open level. Let's go to day one. Okay, because you know, once done, best begun, as Mary Poppins told us. Good times as a child watching Mary Poppins, being confused about our feelings, being strangely attracted to women in very long dresses. Right, now this is the start area here. Okay, now the whole idea is that we can see Malin from here. I'm going to turn this to unlit, and I'm going to pull in a big overlap trigger. That way you've got no bloody choice, you'll start the game and you're in the trigger. Morning, Walt. Well, it's probably morning for you. It's like 11 minutes past 5 in the afternoon for me, but hey. I'm going to go and fill myself up with some caffeine as well in a moment. I just can't be bothered to go to the kettle. So lighthouse AI. Why did you do that? Why? I didn't ask you to do that. Animation, composite, and this should be our captain with his base animation. So he's going to be standing over here. Okay, now if I hit play, I want to make sure that he's there and not left us. Alright, there he is. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to force the player to look at Captain Malin. So I'm going to rename this trigger straight away, and this is going to be an event begin, and with event begin selected, I want to kick off a new horror event, and that horror event will start on begin play, which should be around here somewhere. Could be start play, I suppose. Here we are, begin play. Okay, so it's going to kick off some events. So the player is going to look at an actor first. So I will make him look at, I'll open that up. The actor is going to be Captain Malin Blueprint. So now when I play, Looks at him. Great. Okay. Next. Thank heavens for well-constructed blueprints. These things have no documentation. So if you're ever planning on using this set of tools, okay, which is, I'm using like a heavily stripped down version of the horror engine for some of my tools. I should point out that, like, it's yeah. Anyway, sounds. So what I'm going to do is play a 2D sound. Oh no, hang on, I don't want to do that. I'll just bin that. Subtitles. So I'm going to add a sequence. Okay, and here is where that's going to go. So I need to get the audio. So if I go to content, lighthouse, audio, that's assets, audio, actors, prologue. These are the narration cues. So I want new folder, day 1. Inside here I'm going to go and make Malin, so new folder. And inside there I'm going to import a few things. Audio Malin. C Malin intro WAV. When did I do that? 15th. Let me test it.
Ah, Yemen. Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here, and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the journey started. Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads before we take over. Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Get the torch, you're going to need it. Just keep the thing, prime the pump with diesel, then run up and start the journey. Now, once it's running, throw the breaker and the lights will come on. After that, you can head up on up for your dinner. First night in the Rock, you're going to need something in you to keep warm. Good lad. See you at the house.
Okay, that sounds good. So I need to open this with Audacity. Open with... let's just get Audacity open. I'm going to need to trim this all. Right, so I need to break this into pieces. And so this is Malin's introduction 1. And the reason you break this into pieces is so that the subtitles work with it. So just have a look.
Ah, Yemen. Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here, and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you.
Perfect. So that's a 7.5 second block there. So I will make a new, I don't need a new track here. I'll put the track here, and then I'm going to export it as a WAV, because it's always WAVs for Unreal Engine. Okay, and this will be introduction 1. And I'll delete it now that it's exported.
Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the journey started. Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads before we take over.
Okay. File, export. This is introduction 2, because it's part of the introduction block.
Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Get the torch, you're going to need it.
Okay, so that'll be a cube. There's a lot of this manual kind of stuff, but you've got to do it.
Just keep the thing, prime the pump with diesel, then run up and start the Jenny. Now, once it's running,
the export as well, and that's line 4. This is why a lot of the time you see independent games where there's no audio and stuff like that, is because it's hard work. But when you do it, it makes a big difference.
now, once it's running, throw the breaker and the lights will come on. After that, you can head up for your dinner.
Nice. Wouldn't you want to have dinner with Captain Malin at the lighthouse shack? I know I would. The actor I got for Captain Malin is... Someone said to me you can smell the wax jacket and beard, and you really can. It's funny because the guy who's the actor is actually really quite young. Younger than me anyway, but then again a lot of things are younger than me. So.
First night in the rock, you're going to need something in you to keep warm. Good lad. See you at the house.
Oh, that'll do. Good lad, see you at the house. So I'll export that. And that's the end of the introduction block. I'll put that into there as introduction 6. And we are onion rings, which is great. It means now I can go to import my audio, which should be in day 1 under 0, and here we see all the different audio tracks. And that's Malin. Now it's a lot cheaper hiring an audio actor if you're prepared to do all the trim work yourself. So, you know, that's what I did.
Well, I suppose it wasn't that good a conversation for you, eh?
And I've got all these parts here that I can obviously use to, like...
Off already, lad.
Build the dialogue. And the good thing is that as I go along, because I'm buying it in pieces, I can go back over my previous lines and think to myself, well, I don't need that one re-recording. I can reuse elements of this, which is really helpful. Right, so looking at the actor, and I can stick a delay between it of enough seconds, then it'll look at the torch if I want to and stuff, so that's good. Don't really want the player wandering around either, but I might just deactivate the player's controller, because I can use a get player controller while you're in this, just to do that. Okay, so subtitles, and we have a sequence here with 2 members in it, so I'm going to add my subtitle array. Here we are, and this is the first one, this is the text. So if I find my intro...
Ah, young'un. Welcome to the rock. Your first time here, and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you.
Ah, lad, welcome to the rock. Capitals. Your first time here, and she's beautiful and welcoming to you. Okay, and then we add it with introduction 1, which is there, and attach settings of sounds 3D, modify duration or seconds, none, delay between, none. So now if I do this,
ah, young'un. Welcome to the rock. Your first time here, and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you.
perfect. Okay, now I can start putting in the additional lines on this. So I've got another member of subtitles I need to add after this. So if I go to introduction 2.
Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the Jenny started. All Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads aboard we take over. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the duty started. Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads aboard we take over.
There we go. I'll drop in the subtitle file for 2. Now we'll test it.
Ah, young. Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the duty started. Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads aboard we take over.
Perfect. Okay, so that's 2 lines fed into the system. And it's not lad, it's young'un. Now, if you've ever been a northerner in England, or a Scottish person, you'll recognise the colloquialism, as we call it. Now, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I need 4 more of these. 3, 4, 5 and 6. And I'll close down the previous one. 0 and 1, open 2.
Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Get the torch, you're going to need it.
Gotta check my capitals. I hate bad grammar and pronunciation stuff. Okay.
Unless she's blowing...
Perfect. Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course, get the torch, you're going to need it. I'll need to hyphenate, not hyphenate, I'm putting apostrophe? Yeah. Oh. Actually, it's afterwards, because it's shortening of. Just in case you didn't know that, but I'm sure you did. 3, 4, here we are.
Just keep the thing. Prime the pump with diesel, then you can run up and start the journey. Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Just keep the thing. Prime the pump with diesel, then you can run up and start the journey.
Hopefully people know what a Jenny is. It's a generator.
Just keep the thing.
For the audio 5.
No. Once it's running, throw the breaker and the lights will come on. After that you can head up on a break. Once it's running, throw the breaker and the lights will come on. After that you can head up on up to your dinner.
It's dinner. Okay, so that's intro 6. Last one. And this is introduction 6.
First night in the Rock, you're going to need something in your kitchen. Good lad. See you later.
Good old Scottish colloquialism.
Ah, young. Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the journey started. Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads afore we take over. Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Get the torch, you're going to need it. Just keep the thing, prime the pump with diesel, then you can run up and start the journey.
Okay, I need to time that. So, reset.
Ah, young'un. Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the journey started. Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads afore we take over. Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Get the torch, you're going to need it.
24
Just
seconds.
keep the thing.
Okay, 24 seconds. So, these are all sequential. So that's 24 seconds. Let's go and look at it. Keep looking for 5 seconds. Nice. Is this the right one even? Yeah, it is. Okay. So let's say you're going to keep looking at that fella there for about 19 seconds. I'll make it 18 to be on the safe side. You're going to look at the torch for 5 seconds, which is over here. Flashlight. Turn speed in seconds of 1. Turn speed in seconds of 1. And then we're going to look at this supply.
Ah, young'un. Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here and she's a beautiful and
Perfect.
welcoming to you. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the journey started.
Go Igna.
Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads afore we take over. Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Get the torch, you're going to need it. Just keep the thing, prime the pump with diesel, then you can run up and start the journey. Now, once it's running, throw the breaker and the lights will come on. After that, you can head up on up for your dinner. First night in the Rock, you're going to need something in your to keep warm. Good lad. See you at the house.
Okay, we can do this. So, we're going to need to put some little lights in a minute, but we'll look back at our chap here. And if that was a delay of 24 with 5 seconds, this will be a delay before looking at the sequence. Actually no, it'll go straight after this. So let's see. Fill the array. I'm going to look at Malin again. I'm going to keep looking at Malin for 10 seconds, and then look at that, which is our little house up there. So when we do that, Malin will unload, and that's his introduction gone. So look at for members, cap animation 10 seconds. All right, Another one. 3. So I'm going to look at array. Delay before looking at sequence, where it should look at it after it's looked at Malin for 10 seconds. So what we want to do is look at something up there. Alright, that'll do. I'm going to keep looking up there for, let's say, another 10 seconds. And then nice smooth turn, actually. And I'll do the same over here. Turn speed 2. Turn speeds all fine. Okay. Isn't this exciting? Hope you're having fun, by the way. Okay, so now we had a quest, and I need to fix a subtitle. So subtitles. Young and welcome to the rock, blah de blah de blah. Now, before we get settled in, you're going. Going. There, that's fixed. Save. And no point having candles. I think I'm going to have a lantern of some kind. I don't think I've got one. Never mind, I'll make do. I'll just build one. So quest, update quest. New quest. Okay, that's our new quest. I know it's all working, so now I need to look at lights. So, do I have a lamp? Because there isn't really any light down here. I mean, I can turn this on, I suppose.
Ah, young. Welcome to the rock. Your first time here, and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the...
no, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so I need the timer. For when it looks at the torch, certainly.
Ah, young. Welcome to the rock. Your first time here, and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you. Now,
still don't know what causes that, but I'm thinking it's a bug.
ah, young. Welcome to the rock. Your first time here, and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the journey started. Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads before we take over. Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Get the torch, you're going to need it. Just keep the thing, prime the pump with diesel, then
30
you
seconds.
start the journey. Once it's running, throw the breaker and the lights will come on. After that, you
40
can head up on
seconds.
up your dinner. First night in the rock, you're going to need something in you to keep warm. Good lad. See you, Luke.
30, 35, 40. Okay. So that should fix that. So 30. 40 is going to look over there. 45. 5 seconds there to keep looking. And okay, so that's the lookouts. Environment. Hide, unhide and destroy actor. This will be after 46 seconds. The actor is going to be him. He'll become hidden in game and destroy collision. Okay. Hopefully we won't get a bug.
Ah, young. Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here, and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the Jenny started. Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads before we take over. Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Get the torch, you're going to need it. Just keep the thing, prime the pump with diesel, then run up and start the Jenny. Once it's running, throw the breaker and the lights will come on. After that you can head up on up for your dinner. First night in the Rock, you're going to need something in you to keep warm. Good lad. See you at the house.
Captain, where's he gone? Ah, he's vanished. Yes, that's exactly how I wanted it, and that's better than I could have hoped for. Okay. Now I need cancel. I need to save all the audio, and then I need to save the day one on current. I'm very pleased with how that's came out, however, so that's really good news. There's enough animation with the captain there that it's not overwhelming. The thing is, he goes through a whole cycle of different animations, which is great. So the animation's never exactly the same every time you do it. There's enough there to keep you focused on what's happening. Now then, content. I need a boat. Don't really want a floating boat. I think I'm going to have a static boat this time. So there should be a boat thing here. Here we are. Another boat and boat. These are all blueprints, and this is a bigger boat which is just a static mesh. It's probably comically large. Okay. Now then, I want to get this over here a bit. It's going to be running quite high in the water because obviously its stuff isn't on there anymore. Alright. Now then. No, I'll put it back where it was actually. There we go. Now, I'm not so near that rock that it's going to get all smushed up by it. There we go. Okay. What I might do is just flip this boat actually, because I can. Not that anyone will notice. So. No. I think people have noticed that. There we go. Right. The reason I've done that is because I want access to this here. The reason I want that is because we can have a little fun with it. Now obviously most people won't know this. People are always of the opinion, well, what if I just get back on the boat and don't bloody continue the mission? Yeah, you do that. You don't have to, you know. So let's load up the static meshes, because I'm just getting this sorted. I should have some wood. Now then, what have I got that I can use here? Oh, that looks like it. Now then, how do you turn this into a plank, you may be wondering? Well, it's not difficult. Might turn this to about 0.2. And as you can see, suddenly we have planks. Now, if I lock this and then increase the scale, and we have big planks, you see? Just for a little bit of silly gimmickry, but it works. And this way the player won't kill themselves if they're trying to get down here. You'd be surprised how often that happens. It's like, oh, I'm dead now. Yeah, well, you know. Okay, I'm just going to bring this across. Okay, and for the underside, I'm just going to throw that on there. And if you recall, we rotated it by 25. And let's stick it on there. And it looks like because of that I can stick an extra one on the other side and an extra one here, which is grand. And to make it look stronger, ooh, look at that, that was the wrong angle, wasn't it? So what happened there? Let's just get rid of it. That means it's probably 5 more degrees. And it was, so that's cool. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these and turn them into a group. Control G. Okay, and now I have a simple prop that I can use, and adjust it a bit more. There we go. Nice. And then do some adjusting on this side. And this should give us a simple boarding gantry, you see. And it's something that most players wouldn't give like more than 2 thoughts about, but there's a certain kind of player that will see this and think, oh, I wonder if I can get back on the boat. To which the answer is most assuredly, yes you can. You can just quit. is, just going to move that along to there, and up to about there. Okay. There we go. So you have to deliberately go onto the ship in order to obviously leave, but it should work. I believe I've got collision set up. Oh shit, hang on. So when we start, it automatically does the hey young'un bit, so I might as well
Welcome to the Rock. Your first time here, and she's a beautiful and welcoming to you. Now, before we get settled in, you're going to need to get the Jenny started. Policy from up on high is that the system gets shut down by the previous lads before we take over. Unless she's blowing up a storm, of course. Get the torch, you're going to need it. Just keep the thing, prime the pump with diesel, then you run up and start the Jenny. Now, once it's running, throw the breaker and the lights will come on. After that, you can head up on up for your dinner. First night on the Rock, you're going to need something in you to keep warm. Good lad. See you at the house.